This is Akashvani. In the weekly program Current Affairs under the series of 9 years of NDA government, now we bring a discussion on India's enduring tech prowess, technology to revolutionize governance and uplift service delivery. The participants are Anurag, Batra and Jiten Kumar Jain, information and technology experts. The moderator is Sonu, Sood.
To discuss India's enduring and accelerating tech prowess in the last 9 years that has revolutionized governance, uplifted service delivery, empowered Indians and furthered social justice and inclusivity, we have with us two economic experts, Shri Anurag Batra and Shri Jiten Kumar Jain. Good evening, sir. A warm welcome to you on Akashvani.
Thank you.
Good evening, Ram Ram.
Anuragji, to begin the discussion, can you tell us how you see the 9-year journey of India as a technological power, its growth as a digital economy?
See, first of all, let me say that the Narendra Modi-led government has done a lot of path-breaking work, a lot of pioneering work, and especially when it comes to, while the country is about connectivity and roadways and waterways and building highways, the same has been done in building an information super highway. And let me give you 3 examples of what I say. I say that there is China, which I call a valley of surveillance. There is Silicon Valley, which I call the valley of innovation. And I would call India the valley of public good. This government, under the leadership of Shri Narendra Modi, has created a public good valley. Let me give you 3 examples. First is UPI. Look at the ease of transaction of doing business and look at the volume of transactions on UPI. Right from the street vendor in a small place to anyone, anywhere can utilize UPI. Now, the scale, the simplicity, the volumes that we've done it at, I think it's an example for the world. Second is, COVID was a very painful time, and to build the COVID app, and the COVID app was again a digital innovation for good. And now is ONDC, we buy everything online. So we are building an open source platform for e-commerce, whether it is UPI, whether it's COVID, whether it's ONDC. The government has been very, very aggressive in terms of building a valley in India. I'm saying it metaphorically, which is a valley of public good. I think the world must learn from Narendra Modi and what the government has done. It has built the valley of public good. Now also let me add 2-3 more areas which point to the progressive thinking of the government. Let's take gaming. Last year, the Prime Minister exhorted Indian game developers to build more and more content because that would make sure that right now we are 3% of, while we are 17-18% of the overall gamers coming from India. But in terms of our content, we are between 3 to 5%. Taking that content to, let's take drones. This government has been not only an enabler in terms of policy, it has also been a market maker when the Prime Minister announces that we'll buy $1 billion of drones, government, and implement that. Let's take the space program to make sure that we know that space can be used. In these are very strategic areas, encouraging private space companies to create initiatives that help both for the strategic sovereign good and for the public good. So I think I can go on giving you examples, but I've given you 6 examples of UPI, of COVID, of ONDC, of drones, of space, of gaming. I can give you many more examples, but directionally it shows you that the government is not only thinking of today, it is thinking of tomorrow, it is thinking long term, it is doing things that will benefit the Indian economy and Indian consumer.
Anurag, as you have so beautifully put it, that the approach of the government is to lay a strong foundation, at the same time have a futuristic view. If we talk of inclusivity, which has always been the hallmark of the current government, how do you see the emergence of the Jain Trinity? How far has it been a path-breaking initiative where we have Jan Dhan accounts, Aadhaar and mobile in conjunction, converting every citizen into a digitally empowered citizen?
Absolutely. Now, since you asked me, right now the government is spending about 4.2% of the GDP on Jain, on schemes that help the bottom of the pyramid. So whether it's the Jan Dhan Yojana or the Udyog Aadhaar Memorandum or the PDS, basically this government is very, very committed to making sure that the bottom of the pyramid is, almost 19.72 crore bank accounts were opened, right? So that's a huge number. How much did I say? 19.72 crores. Again, you can say, and JAM is a combination of the above three methods that we talked of in terms of cash benefits to the bank accounts of the beneficiary of the DBT scheme of the Government of India. The DBT scheme of the Government of India till now has been operating at various levels, either in the form of different subsidies or through various other associated routes. And basically, it is based on biometric data. Also, the leakages have been through usage of technology. The beneficiaries are actually getting the benefit. Unlike in the past, whenever there were even DBTs, the middlemen would take the most of it. But because of usage of technology like biometric technology, which can recognize a person. So really, this government is inclusive when it comes to making sure that the bottom of the pyramid gets the financial resources to be able to carry on. And last point, in COVID, this government gave free meals to the whole country, So again, that at the end, the government is responsible for the citizen. I wouldn't go into at what cost, this, that. It doesn't matter. The government ensured that there was food for everyone. There was no riots. There was no arson. There was no supply of food, shortage of food. And it ensures that there was a peace in the civil areas, in the urban areas, in the rural areas. There was no bedlam. So the government has been inclusive in the true sense of it and in the spirit of inclusiveness.
Jitenji, if we come to you, what would you say? How strong is the public digital infrastructure which has come up in these last few years, and how far has it been a game changer and a saver in times of, difficult times like the pandemic, which Anurag ji just talked about?
I think I agree with Anurag ji. If you look, in last decade, I think especially 7 to 8 years, the prime focus of the Prime Minister has been to digitalize the entire public service delivery ecosystem in India. So under Digital India campaign, almost every single public service was digitalized. We have connected almost every single village in India with a high-speed optic fiber connectivity. We have ensured that there is a common service center in every village. Now, this may look a very small step, but if you look at the overall the ecosystem, there is an attempt that the fruit of Digital India, ecosystem is not only reaped by the urban cities or, urban population or the big corporate houses. There has to be a benefit which is, enjoyed by the person who is standing at the last leg of society. Our farmers, our villagers should be able to enjoy the benefits of Digital India ecosystem. Now that first started with the online services, issuing of certificates, applications, tenders, transfer of subsidies, as Vinodji pointed out. Now, but what has completely changed in last 7 to 8 years is the trinity of JAM. Now, Prime Minister realized that every Indian has to have a singular identity, which is verifiable, which is biometric enabled, which is foolproof, where there can be no fraudulent attempt, where there can be no duplication. So Aadhaar was rolled out along with biometrics. And today we have got almost 90% of the population coverage, which is, which has got an Aadhaar. Now, second, from last, I think a decade and a half, 15 years or so, we have been on the path to become the highest or the largest smartphone population in the world. We are the cheapest, in form of per GB data what we offer from our telecom service providers. We are the highest consumer of, internet data in terms of GBs on mobile phones. So if you have a population which is using smartphones with high-speed internet at extremely cheap cost, especially in rural areas also, so then there is a possibility to take the advantages of, e-education or, telemedicine to the villages, e-commerce to the villages. Now, a third was the revolution where everybody especially in the farming sector, in the villages, in the rural areas were bought into the banking ecosystem. So if you see in last 7 years till 2021 or 2, I think almost 40 crores Jan Dhan accounts are opened. So idea was to bring these small entrepreneurs into the mainstream economy, farmers into the mainstream economy where they can, get subsidized schemes, they can get structured loans. They don't have to go to these big money lenders who exploit them and, take away their earnings. Then there was an attempt to also transfer the subsidies directly without any leakage. Now after that, all three were clubbed. Now today there is this trinity of Jan Dhan accounts, Aadhaar and mobile phone. So like the fellow panelists mentioned, during COVID, we were able to create a COVID certificate because we had Aadhaar enabled identity. We were able to deliver it online on WhatsApp and email because we had, complete mobile ecosystem available everywhere in India. We were able to transfer subsidies, food and everything because without any leakages because we had Jan Dhan accounts. So overnight, everybody got 5,000 rupees because there was an Aadhaar enabled mobile linked Jan Dhan account available to a small person.
Absolutely.
Now, so idea is to ensure that the benefits of this entire public service ecosystem, which is enabled by Digital India, the person standing on the last leg of society, a poor person, should be able to enjoy the benefit equally like an urban person living in a city. In the second step, now we are trying to evolve into a powerhouse. We have invested heavily in UPI, Unified Payment Interface. Today, we are able to challenge the dominant global players like MasterCard and Visa, and we've been able to, capture almost 7 to 8% of market within a span of last 3 to 4 years. We are going for ONDC, Open Network Commerce, digital infrastructure, so that tomorrow we are able to challenge the monopolies of Amazon and, Walmart. So I think our investments into a public digital infrastructure has been huge. They have been hugely successful. And the reason they have been happening, because they are not only made for big industrialists or urban citizens, they are made for truly every Indian, whether it is living in a city or whether it is living in a rural area. ONDC will be able to all small entrepreneurs across India without any, commissions or big hefty onboarding fees to pay. People will be able to buy Indian products without paying much commissions. So I think we are going to see a completely changed landscape in last 3 years when it comes to the digital public infrastructure in India. And it is not only going to be Indian infrastructure, it is going to be a global infrastructure.
Anuragji, if we come to you, what would you say about the national digital health ecosystem which has emerged in the last 3-4 years, especially because of the strides which were made in the digital field, because of the situation created by the pandemic? As they say, the adversity was created into an opportunity. The Ayushman Bharat digital mission and the Arogya Setu app is now become a national health app. Apart from COVID, we have e-Sanjeevani. How do you see this entire, development, and how will it affect the last mile person, as Jiten was just talking about?
Jiten has talked about all the right things. There is DigiLocker. Yesterday I was coming from Delhi to Mumbai and I had to be in a queue because I didn't have a Digi Yatra. So this government's whole focus is making sure through using digital as an incentive to port yourself fully digitally. It brings down printout costs. It brings up efficiencies. It also leaves digital footprints, which is good. So in every facet of the government citizen interface, the government is using technology and digital to be able to provide services in a way that they are given in the context of how citizens live their lives now and maybe will live their lives in the future. So now coming to health insurance is a very huge issue. If we can ensure health insurance for the bottom of the pyramid, we would have really done a human service, because once there is a medical issue in a family, it takes a lot of money. It is said that whatever is saved, it gets finished in one surgery. So by doing this, again, the government is really living up to its promise of a digital India, an inclusive India, and most importantly, an India and a government that cares. As I said at the start, that this government has created a value of public good. I mean, I use the word term valley in context of Silicon Valley, and I call the Chinese way of working this value of surveillance. They haven't allowed any foreign apps to work there they build their own apps because they do surveillance through these apps. Okay. It's well known now. Of course, it is known to the Indian government, and that's why TikTok was banned. So really, this government, you asked me about healthcare infrastructure, the data that we've shared can also become a data which can be used to predict the health. Preventive healthcare is a big area. Today only we heard that in India we have more than 100 million Indians who have diabetes. 100 million. That's a big number. And, these lifestyle diseases are a big threat. So can we use digital to be able to do preventive healthcare so that I'm sure the government will in future be able to utilize the base it has set up through all the work it has done in the 9 years to be able to tackle issues as I talked about diabetes and get into preventive healthcare through the usage of data that we've gathered. So I have no doubt that will be the next phase.
Jitenji, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has regularly stressed that to enable India to earn the tag of a developed nation, the key is to develop a robust support mechanism aided by technological innovation, which will facilitate the growth of startups and boost the innovation ecosystem in the nation. In fact, in 2022, while addressing the entrepreneurs, PM Modi described the present decade as Techade. How do you see this booming of tech startups, fintechs and agri-techs and tech startups in various sectors? How important is this for the development of India as, towards becoming a developed nation?
I think, we missed the first two industrial revolutions because we were not a free nation. Third, we were not in time. We were still preparing for our capacities. But we are standing at the dawn of digital age. So next industrial revolution will be based on tech and AI. And Prime Minister has realized that, and he's trying to ensure that India does not miss the bus. So one of the whole purpose of Digital India campaign is just not only to build the digital infrastructure in India, there is also an attempt to build up a startup ecosystem. So coupled with a Digital India campaign and a Startup India campaign, so we have seen preference being given to Indian startups, and at many steps. Today, an Indian startup does not have to pay a tender fee. You don't have to pay deposits. You are given preference over L1s at times. So, there is an attempt to create an ecosystem where demand is made available for indigenously developed Indian tech products. Once that happens, the startup becomes stable. Then there is an attempt to take the startup globally by helping them, by making them pitch in different countries like, Singapore and Dubai to get them investments and funding. And this is done on government money. Government is promoting Indian startups, making them help and, global. And so the idea is that there is an attempt to transform this so-called, India, which was known as a software superpower. We were known as a software superpower because we were an outsourcing economy. We were the outsourcing hub of the world. The government, especially the Prime Minister, is trying to turn this largest outsourcing software superpower of the world into an entrepreneur-based system. We are trying to now cultivate our engineers and turn them into entrepreneurs. So if that happens, today you see Indians are becoming the CEOs of the big techs, Google or Microsoft, you name anyone. Indians are leading the companies, but these are foreign companies. So now there is an attempt to retain the talent, to help the talent grow, help Indian entrepreneurs grow, and to ensure that Indian talent run the best Indian companies and they grow global, so that the wealth of India is retained in India and is earned in India. So in that attempt, I think there is a consolidated attempt. Things like startup of, fund of funds, 10,000 crore fund for Indian startups, 25 lakh loans being given to every Indian startup who's trying to build a new product without any, security. So I think this whole ecosystem has now started to give results. So we have almost, more than 100 unicorns today within a span of last 4 years. Having 100 unicorns in last 4-5 years is not a small feat. It's a gigantic leap. So I think the results are now coming in. Now I think we have to ensure that these startups, they do not come to a, stagnation stage. They grow global and they make brand India global.
And if we talk of infrastructure, the physical, world-class physical infrastructure which is being built through the various initiatives, if we talk of, let's say, PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan or the National Logistics Policy, you feel that there is a very big support system from the digital infrastructure that we have. Because in such a vast country like India, without a digital backbone, it is not even possible to build actual physical infrastructure in an efficient and cost-effective manner.
100%. No matter how big tech company you build. Suppose if you're running an e-commerce company, you can't do it without good quality of roads. And even if you build good quality of roads, in a country like India, a decade ago, you would imagine that these companies will be run and, destroyed by the very own red tapeism and corruption. Every police wala standing at the, signals, asking for way bills, finding some faults, extorting bribes. But today, everything is gone. You have an e-way bill. You have a completely digital paperwork. You have digital invoicing. Your highway toll tax, everything has gone digital. There is world-class infrastructure in form of airports, in terms of highways, in terms of storages, in terms of cargoes. We are developing one of the largest inland waterway system in India. We are offering that to Nepal. We are offering that to Bangladesh. We are offering UPI to countries like Singapore, Dubai. We are growing in every field. There is an honest attempt to improve physical infrastructure in India. There is a concentrated attempt to improve and make a global, the reputed digital infrastructure in India. And there is a committed attempt to provide world-class governance without any harassment or without any red tapeism. Now, this is enabling the entire ecosystem where Indian startups are feeling comfortable. They don't have to worry about back-end logistics, infrastructure. They are just focusing on innovation and technology, and they are able to succeed.
Jitenji, talking of the progressive outlook of the government, National AI portal has been developed to provide all information related to artificial intelligence to all stakeholders at a single place and promote awareness and communication on AI in the country. How important is this according to you, and what role will artificial intelligence play in a country like India to modernize our entire governance systems?
I think, the biggest revolution in technology in last 40 years was the evolution of internet. The next significant revolution will be led by the AI. The founder of ChatGPT was here in India, and he mentioned the same thing. Probably AI-based bots or ChatGPT-like, generative models are the next biggest innovation after email here, what we are seeing. So government of India has realized, that you cannot miss the technology, but you don't have to depend on foreign companies to build world-class artificial intelligence technologies. And no AI company can succeed if they do not train their AI on good data sets. India is home to one of the largest data sets in the world. We have been giving our data freely to foreign companies in the past. But government has now realized that data is the new oil. And that is why government is pushing towards data localization policies, Digital India Act. We are trying to ensure that our data is our sovereign wealth. It doesn't go in foreign hands. Our companies are able to use the structured Indian data to develop their own AI models, train them, and create world-class AI technologies. And any support is needed in terms of hand-holding, in terms of collaborative technologies, in terms of data centers. Government is providing that. Earlier, we were just making some random PSUs. We were outsourcing our work to foreign companies. But government has realized that at best be a stopgap arrangement. Ultimately, we have to develop our own capacities and use our homegrown technologies. And that is, a sign where, that is the reason why National AI portal was also developed, so that all companies which are working on AI could use that portal for knowledge gap building, knowledge learning, knowledge sharing. If they require any consultation, if they require any support, everything is available on that portal. So I think at the end of the day, it is one of the pillars of ecosystem creation in India, which is helping our startups grow.
Jitenji, in 2017, the government e-marketplace GEM was launched. How significant is this initiative for increasing market access for, the seller groups which we are talking about, like startups, MSMEs?
I think GEM was important because you had digital infrastructure available. So you could do away with the corruption. You could make more choices available. You can help more people onboard and, enter into government ecosystem. To put any very simplistic words for our audience, earlier if anybody had to supply anything in government, the vendor and tender process was so complicated, full of complications, paperwork and red tapeism that an ordinary person could never even think of supplying Indian defense or Indian government contract. Today, even if you are selling a bottle or a computer or a laptop, anything from anywhere in India, just go to the portal, register yourself as seller, put up your prices. Now, once you are onboarded, tomorrow if any defense establishment or government establishment or even a small PSU wants to buy even a pen or a pencil, the best prices are shown to them from every single seller across India. There is absolutely no favorism, there is absolutely no biasness, there is absolutely no corruption. So that has helped sellers sell their things, and that has also helped government reduce the cost of purchase. And it has done away with any litigation dispute. Everything is completely transparent. Everybody has got a fair, equal opportunity available to sell and showcase their products. In that context, I think today, any PSU which wants to buy, they can buy the best of products at the most cheapest of prices. Any seller in India, whether they are in Delhi or they are in Dimapur in Assam, everybody has got equal opportunity to supply their products.
We'd also like your comments on big leap that India has witnessed in electronic manufacturing with schemes like production-linked incentives and special promotion of semiconductors and manufacturing of electronic components that we have seen recently. PLI 2.0 was brought in for electronic hardware. How do you see this push by the government, this technological push?
In my opinion, the hardware manufacturing PLI schemes are a work in progress. Our best is yet to come. I think we were not extremely successful in the PLI first scheme because even the incentives were not claimed by the industry. Most of the incentives had gone to tech industries or medical, sector. So I think government is trying to repurpose the model. The benefits are now been extended to a period of 5 years. More industries are being catered to. But government has realized that you cannot grow a digital ecosystem. You cannot make India a software or IT powerhouse unless you have dominance over both software and hardware. So we are best in software today. We have got the best of technologies, homegrown technologies available. But we are extremely dependent on foreign hardware, especially the Chinese hardware, which is a very huge security risk. And so one of the things government has done in the last 3 years that we have come out with a National Telecom Security Directive, where we have literally barred Chinese companies from providing any sort of telecom equipment in our critical infrastructure, in our telecom operations. Same is going to come for the energy sector. And while we do that, we are trying to ensure that we reduce these dependencies not by shifting from Chinese to the Western companies. So we have started encouraging homegrown production, that everybody who wants to sell in India should either come to India, transfer the technology, or do a JV and start manufacturing in India, do a technology transfer. So we create more jobs. We have a homegrown ecosystem, and the results of which you are seeing today. We are now developing and producing iPhones in India. Costs have come down. We are creating jobs, and very soon you will find that this ecosystem will also help Indian companies to manufacture their own phones, and the demand will be made available. So I think PLI schemes and the hardware linked projects are a work in progress. Our best there is yet to come.
Jitenji, agriculture continues to be a very important sector in the Indian economy. So, what role you feel technology has played in the last few years to modernize agriculture, to make it more efficient and productive?
For the agricultural sector, as I said, the Prime Minister is trying to ensure that the best of our, technological assets are made available to our farmers so that they can also reap the benefits. I mean, you would recall the visit of Prime Minister a couple of years ago to Israel, where he discussed with Israeli entrepreneurs and Israeli Prime Minister specifically about how Israeli companies could help Indian farmers in precision farming and bring latest technologies. We have modernized the complete weather forecast system by using AI and are launching our new satellites, where we are able to forecast weather in time more precisely, and we are able to advise our farmers which crops to grow at what time, which seeds to plant at what time. So I think with the evolution of AI and the public infrastructure in terms of satellites and weather forecast, and the new precision farming technologies which we are procuring, I think our produce is going to significantly grow almost by 40% by the adoption of these technologies. So it's going to be very significant. And we are able to send alerts on SMSs to our farmers. We are able to, forecast weather in time, and we are able to take corrective steps. And I think it is also a commendable step by this government that they also care about farmers when it comes to digital public infrastructure.
And also ENAM is, you will say, a very crucial initiative for the farmers to get best prices for their products?
See, government, apart from ENAM also, we try to ensure that, when we grow this national agriculture market, we were trying to bring in the farm reforms, which were, somehow opposed by our farmers. And I would say not by our farmers, but Angadiyas and all these political parties which had their own stakes. So I think the farm reforms would have significantly created better national agriculture market ecosystem in India to do away with this mandis, bring more transparencies. But anyways, again, once you have ENAM, now you mentioned GEM. So if GEM worked really well for defense PSU, government tried to, simulate the entire similar model for the, agriculture market and help farmers and then the buyers. So I think ENAM is still in the early stages. It is going to grow much better once we have some sort of farm reforms in place.
And before we wind up the discussion, we'd like to know from you how you feel that technology has eased the lives of common citizens, be it students, professionals. What are the major, you can say, advantages that have reached everyone?
I think the best example would be that today the son of a poor farmer sitting in a village in Bengal is able to, attain the best education from an IIT professor by e-learning, by enrolling in free school of IITs. The farmer is able to get the best possible medical treatment sitting in Jharkhand by using our e-hospital services, by using telemedicine without having to spend much money. So I think these two examples have empowered our rural citizens. And these could be the best examples, what you could get. One poor farmer could not have imagined his son getting education from an IIT school. He could not have, imagined getting a treatment from, world-class facilities like AIIMS sitting in his own village. So I think this is the beginning of what the fruits we are getting from our digital public infrastructure. And very soon you are going to see this whole urban migration will stop. We will have equal facilities, world-class facilities in our villages backed by our technology and digital infrastructure.
Jitenji, thank you so much for this discussion and throwing light on various facets of India's enduring tech prowess and how it has impacted each and every sector of the economy and each and every citizen of our country.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on India's enduring tech prowess, technology to revolutionize governance and uplift service delivery. The participants were Anurag, Batra, and Jiten Kumar Jain, information and technology experts. The moderator was Sonu Sood. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsdtalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 9289094044.